Good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems. It's good to have you here this afternoon. As you may have seen in one of our emails talking about our webinar today, we're going to be talking about the future of medical billing and how it is now. So, folks, this will be a good one. We're going to go, Patrick and I are going to take a lot of information and try to squeeze it in within this next hour here to hopefully get you all the information that you need. Again, my name is Eric Auger with American Business Systems, and I'm the Director of Research and Development, and certainly want to welcome you here this afternoon. Well, first of all, we want to make sure that my voice is coming through loud and clear. So, if you have been on our webinars before, you already know what to do, and that is click that little icon of a hand right there. If by chance you cannot hear my voice, I'll be able to notice on my end. But if you wouldn't mind start clicking your hand there, and I start to see hands going up already. Deanna, good to have you here. Jane, Kim, good to have you. Good to see you, Kim. Roger, Tangy, same with you. Looks like we've got, let's see, Latasha and Harvey's coming in. Cindy is coming in. So we've got several people logging in right now. Usually, sometimes right after the top of the hour, we start to see more and more people show up here. So again, we want to make sure that my voice is coming through, and it seems like it's doing that currently. Well, again, folks, we want to again welcome you here this afternoon, and we're going to go over a lot of information here about the future of medical billing. But first of all, let me take an opportunity for those that are visiting with us for the first time today to kind of go over about who American Business Systems is. So you can see here that we have several services here besides just medical billing. Quick Collect, Code Write, iDocs now, and so certainly those are some of the things that we might be talking about today. But again, if you haven't known all this information, be sure to talk with the rep that you're talking with about all the different services that we have. But really, for the last 20 years, what we've been doing here at American Business Systems is helping people just like yourselves work from home. And that's what we want to do with you today is to show you the importance of family. Patrick and his family is all part of this business, and you can certainly see here we want to help you be able to be someone that can work from home because, again, we know the importance of family. We want you to be able to work together as a family. And so, again, that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. What is separating us from the pack is our system that you can see here clearly on the screen about iClaim, EMRX, and you can see that it can run from a desktop platform to an iPad or any type of tablet that you might have out there for those doctors, and it's all web-based, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today is our web-based system. So again, folks, you can run this system from just about anywhere. As long as you have an internet connection, you will certainly be able to run your business. Again, for those that have not been out to our website yet, it is absystems.com. We want you to go out there and look all over our webpage. As you can see here, you can check about us to the business package, to the income potential that you can get into, and in the news area where we'll show you some information there where you can see more about our blog and everything else that we have currently on our web page. But really, you see these orange buttons here. This one says request more info or getting started here. We want you to go there because that will get you into our virtual brochure, as you can see right here. Folks, this will give you a ton of information. Besides everything that you'll find out on our website, you're going to find out more information here in our virtual brochure. Now, we want you to take the time to go through each one of these because each one of these sections, like opportunity, getting clients, training, have different sections. Some have 10, some have more than 10, and there's videos in there, and there's actually licensees that you can talk to yourself. There's their phone number there. Call them up. We want you to talk with folks that have been in the business with American Business Systems. A lot of people ask us about our rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we can see here that we've got a rating of an A+ rating. A lot of people always are asking about that, so just check us out at the Better Business Bureau, and you'll find us there at the Fort Worth location, and you'll see us that rating still there. And if you'd like to come by and visit with us you're more than welcome to come by our office. We are located at 5751 Kroger Drive in Keller, Texas. Now, Keller is just a small little suburb north of Fort Worth, so we are in the DFW area, so the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if you're going to fly in, you would want to fly into the DFW airport, and then we'll make arrangements about getting you to our office and then back to the airport in time. And so, folks, this is what we certainly want you to take part of whenever you are doing your due diligence about American Business Systems. And the other due diligence, you just need to know who we are. And I want to introduce you to our founder, Patrick Phillips. Here you can see a place here where you can see to go and actually meet the team. You can read a little bit about Patrick's bio here, and then see even a full extended bio on Mr. Phillips. But really, instead of me reading through all this, we want you to go out there and just check us out. You can see on this next slide that I'm going to show you here is just go to our web page, under About Us, look here where it says click Meet the Team, and you can see about Patrick, Adam, and the rest of the team here at American Business Systems. We'd love for you to just get to know who we are. But again, more about Patrick Phillips. He is an author, a speaker, as you can see, and then also the CEO and founder of our company. He's written a couple of books, as you can see here on the screen. One is How to Reprogram Yourself for Success. Both of these books can be found on the Amazon.com. And the other one called Cash Crunch to Cash Flow. Folks, this is like the Bible of wanting to know about medical billing. This is a book that you will have as part of your marketing pieces that you will be able to give out to doctors when you are doing your marketing for your doctors. We actually use this book in our training class to show you what sections are going to be the most interesting for you and for the doctors. So he is the author of both of those. And not only is he the author of these books, he is also an author in magazines such as BC Advantage, that's Billing and Coding Advantage. And so, folks, you can see all about the information that's actually going out not just to ABS licensees, but to medical billing companies all over the country. And here recently, he also has another one that we're going to talk about here. But before I go any further into any of his other articles he's written, let's bring Patrick on with us this afternoon. Patrick, it's good to have you here this afternoon.
Thanks, Eric. Great introduction there. And a great topic here today. Eric came up with this a couple of weeks ago and said, I'm going to be working on some new stuff here, Patrick, that I think people will really realize that ABS is positioning itself as the leader in the industry. So we should have changed this name, Eric, to The Future of Medical Billing is Here and Now. Here
exactly. Well, Patrick, I was showing on the previous screen that you have not only authored some books, but you've authored some magazine articles. And when the idea of coming up with the title of this webinar, The Future of Medical Billing, I realized that you wrote an article not too long ago that was actually posted in the BC magazine itself called the Bright Future of Medical Billing Companies. Why don't you talk a little bit about that particular article that you've written about?
Well, you know, I'm on the editorial board of this magazine. This is a slick, actual printed magazine. Yes, believe it or not, they still print magazines on paper. And you can subscribe to this if you go to their website, billing-coding.com. But they asked me to write an article about the future of medical billing companies because there's a lot of change going on right now. You know, ICD-9 and all these things we're going to be talking about today, the Affordable Care Act, of course, electronic health records, those things are coming down the pike. And so the editors of the magazine wanted to know, Patrick, from your viewpoint as the head of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies out there, tell us what future do the billing companies have? And guys, we were just talking about this earlier, Eric and I. This is the time. This is like the tsunami of all these different perfect storm of things happening in the medical industry that's causing medical billing companies to just thrive right now. We just got in 2 new signups today, Eric, from 2 of our licensees, from doctors who basically said, you know what? I don't want to deal with all this stuff coming down, so here, you take it over. They want to turn this over to somebody who has been trained and who knows what they're doing. And guys, that's what we do for people. We teach you how to deal with those doctors and position yourself as the expert in your industry.
Well, Patrick, I mean, this we want to make sure that people can go out there and folks that you can see at the bottom of this slide here, we actually have the web address. But even if you can't write all of that down, don't worry about it. Just go to BC or billing-coding.com and look up the bright future of medical billing companies. Now, one of the things that you said in here, and I've got it quoted here, that doctors need to focus on patient care, not the business side of their practice. And I kind of want to go to this next slide because this actually shows it a little bit better from a visual standpoint of what basically you talked about here in the bright future of medical billing companies.
Did I? Oh, you took over the slides. Okay, good.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Well, this illustrates it perfectly, folks. There are two sides to every medical practice. There's the clinical side where the doctor's actually seeing the patients, helping the patients to get well. That's what they've been trained for. That's what they're experts at. Then there's the business side. And you can ask anybody, Eric, can't you? Anybody who's worked for a doctor will tell you they are the worst business people in the world. Now, that's a very generic statement. If your brother-in-law is a doctor, don't tell him I said that because he'll probably tell you he's a very good businessman. But the fact is they don't really know how, and they don't want to keep up with that side of their practice. But it's a very important side of their practice. I mean, let's face it, a practice is really a business. It has a bottom line. It has to make a profit to stay in practice and to pay the employees and buy new equipment and expand and so forth. And if it doesn't show a profit, folks, guess what? They go out of practice, and we've seen that happen, haven't we, Eric?
Yeah, matter of fact, I think I was, that I was out of town this last weekend. I was at a training course, and I talked to you. I said I met three different doctors there this weekend. One was a family practitioner, one was a plastic surgeon, and the other one was a podiatrist.
And this was just a different type of industry.
Yeah, it wasn't even in medical billing.
At all, was it?
Yeah, it was just something that our family had gone to, and so it had nothing to do with medical billing. Just met these folks while we were out where we were, and on three different occasions met three different people, and so we got dialogue. As certainly we started to talk. What do you do? What do you do? And all three of them, Patrick, have said they cannot do the business side of their practice. All three of them. Now again, this is a family practitioner, a podiatrist, and a plastic surgeon. And a matter of fact, all three of them told me that they have spent over $100,000 on their EMR system or their electronic medical records system, and they still can't use it.
And Eric, they don't want to be involved in that side of their business because, again, they've been trained in the clinical side, helping patients, and they have a lot to keep up with just on that side of their practice.
Exactly.
Much less all this other regulations and rules and changes in the medical whole way the medical field is being dealt with by the government right now. So
exactly.
Yeah, they want to turn that over to somebody who's an expert. So that leads us to the growth in this whole field. It's growing and booming right now, isn't it?
It is growing. And before we get to there, folks, we want to remind you, we didn't have a slide up here right now about this, but if you want to type in any of your questions, you'll see underneath that little question box area that you can type in some questions. So if you have any time that during the presentation today you'd like to ask Patrick or me a question, feel free to ask us a question there. So let's go to that next slide if we can there. So the growth in the healthcare sector. Now, Patrick, you and I and Adam and the rest of the team, we kind of we scour news reports and everything else, and I believe Adam actually came across this at the end of last year.
Yes.
This is the Entrepreneur magazine called Big Ideas. That was their big title of that for 2013. So let's talk a little bit about what this article had to say.
Entrepreneur has been around for probably 30 years. It's a magazine that's on every newsstand out there, guys. Very recognized as the magazine for people who are, entrepreneurs, people who want to start their own business and run their own business. And one of the articles that they had here, this whole section was on big ideas, the major trends in franchising. And look what they've said here, Eric. I have to hide something here on my screen that I can't quite see that quote, but there we go. Okay, so senior care franchises, it says, have boomed for a while now, but in the coming year, emergency clinics, sleep labs, and companies that focus on other aspects of healthcare, get this, folks, that includes medical billing, and accounting and administration and so forth, are poised to gain market share. Now, folks, here's what that means. If you're looking at getting into a business, shouldn't you be getting into something that authorities like Entrepreneur Magazine's editors say are going to gain market share? They're not shrinking like many industries are. This one's gaining in market share. And then it goes on to say that these new companies will help address the regulatory pressures and the increased patient loads that are expected with the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. That's what's normally referred to as Obamacare. So, guys, it means that we got to take that burden away from the doctors of having to deal with all this and see that many more patients. And that's why outsourcing is becoming so important to doctors. Look at what the quote here. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. It's highlighted in yellow, but it's kind of faint. It's the second sentence in this paragraph. Here, I'll point to it. Maybe you can see my mouse there. It says,
go ahead. You got it.
Health spending is projected to reach $4.5 trillion by 2020. Now, folks,
right.
You've heard that healthcare is 1/6 of the whole economy in the United States. Actually, it's going to become 1/5 of the economy. That's how big this industry is. So again, if you're looking at different businesses to get into, why would you get into anything that's any smaller than 1/5 of the whole economy? Look, if it's a pie that's this big, you just need a little bitty, tiny, slim piece of that pie to make your fortune in that industry.
Hey, Patrick, Roger's got a question here. It's a decent question, and he's saying, when doctors call you to do their billing, and I'm assuming he's asking about ABS. Which licensees do y'all point them towards, the closest ones to them? Well, actually, Roger, we don't really get calls from doctors to do their billing because, again, we're marketing to you and those that are looking to get into a business opportunity. Sometimes we do hear of doctors, again, those doctors that I spoke to this last weekend, I mean, they were in Arizona. So, it just depends. Sometimes we can contact some licensees here once in a while, but our focus is on people like yourself.
There's two sides to what this business is all about. So to help you kind of clarify this, if you get involved with us, become your own company. You set up your own company. We teach you how to set up your own name, register your company and so forth, and get your own business going. So in your community, you are not tied to American business systems other than the fact that we teach you to position yourself as opening a local office in your area of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. Now, when it comes to ABS, folks, we're not in the medical billing industry. We don't do medical billing ourselves. We did 20 years ago when we first started. My wife and I did medical billing. But we've evolved now into a company that supports and trains other people on doing this business. So we don't get calls from doctors. They don't even know who we are. We're kind of invisible behind the scenes, and we just don't have references like that. So I hope that answers your question, Roger.
Okay, so Patrick, getting back on the topic here about the future of medical billing, we just received this article. I mean, my goodness, in the last couple of days, you'll see the date here. But it's interesting, the lady that actually wrote this article actually contacted you today, and you had a conversation. But before we get into that portion of it, let's talk about what this company's doing, software advice, and some of the things that they have found here recently.
Yes, this just came out on softwareadvice.com. You'll see their web address there at the bottom of the screen down here. And this was an article on healthcare's fastest growing companies. And so notice what it says. They took a list of the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the nation, the Inc. 5,000 it's referred to, and it covers all kinds of sectors, including health industry, of course. So what they did is they took a look at those companies from 2008 and then compared it to 2013, last year. And they analyzed a total of 264 companies from 2008 and 355 companies from 2013. So look what they found in this. I thought it was very interesting, Eric, because there are a lot of different sectors of healthcare. And look at all these different sectors: biotech and life sciences. You've got, I'll skip the business services. You've got consumer services, devices and equipment, fitness and supplements, and even health information technology, HIT. But look, business services is where medical billing falls.
Right.
Companies that provide business consulting services to or perform outsourced business services for health organizations. All right, so that's us. That's where you would fit in, folks, if you got involved in this industry. Now, look where that falls in the whole spectrum of the business that's being done by these different types of industry leaders. And look, in 2008, business services had 20% of the pie. And in 2013, it actually grew to 21%. But it's still at the top. It's the largest segment that's out there, is what we're trying to get across. So I'd say, again, if I were going to choose a business to get into, it'd be in this segment right here.
And again, it's this next slide that's impressive, because this is at the top of the rung out of all of those. This is the business service providers. Now, this is in total revenue in billions of dollars.
Yeah, this is in billions. So look at this. Business service providers, which includes medical billing, of course, is right there at the top, folks, and is going to be the leader in bringing in money for the industries. Now, to me, again, Eric, knowing what I know about pharmaceuticals, for example, the pharmaceutical industry is huge.
Correct.
And it's nothing to sneeze at there. It's almost $2.5 billion. But then there's staffing and there's HIT. I would have thought all those things were bigger than business service providers. But it's, again, it's a great business time to be in business, and that's a great segment of the industry to be in. And so they can kind of concluded here that from 2008 to 2013, health companies increased in prevalence on that list, indicating the industry's growth. Health companies on their list increased in overall revenue and revenue percentage and revenue per employee. If the industry's fastest growing companies, it says, are any indication, the future looks bright for health organizations. Hey, that sounds like an article I just wrote.
It does.
Anyway, there's the lady that actually wrote this. I spoke with her on the phone this morning, by the way, because she called me and said, Mr. Phillips, we'd like your input on this. We know that you're the head of the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. So what did you think about the article? I gave her my feedback on it, and she just did some real good stuff there for us in quoting that stuff, because it positions us right where we know we need to be.
Well, Patrick, look, I actually even posted that email that she sent you back there.
Yeah, that's right. I just got this from her. Well, you can see the date and time right there at the top of it. She says, our report shows that healthcare business service providers, such as outsourced billing and coding services and consultancies, are growing more quickly than any other type of health organization, topping the charts in 2013 with $3.7 billion in total revenue. Now, get this. I wish I could circle this next paragraph here. It's almost like I wrote it, Eric, or you did. With the turbulent regulatory environment, dwindling reimbursements, right? Dwindling reimbursements to the doctors from the insurance companies, and a supposed impending physician shortage, providers are overwhelmed. Folks, let this sink in. Listen to this. To succeed in today's environment, practices have to master more than just medicine, just like we just told them, right, Eric? There's two sides of the business. But for many doctors, the business of running a practice is proving to be a distraction from providing excellent patient care. We're starting to see providers accept that they can't be expert at everything. To remain competitive, they're outsourcing operations like billing and marketing, or delegating these tasks to consultancies. Eric, isn't that what we teach in our class? We teach our licensees to be medical revenue consultants.
That's right. And then, what I did, I just took all that out there so you could blow it up a little bit further. But you can see that last one there. Here's again the 1.3 billion to 2.8 billion. That's what we're talking about in this type of growth that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, from 2008 to last year.
Exactly.
And look, this last sentence. Listen to this, folks. That concurrent growth supports the idea that as providers embrace the use of business service consultancies and outsourced services, their own revenues are growing as a result. Eric, again, you and I couldn't have written that any better. Folks, if you're looking for something, a reason to get into this business, is because you are going to help the doctors to stay in practice by increasing their revenue. Look, everybody has this idea, oh, doctors make way too much money and, they're all making $500,000 a year. That is not true, folks. When you find out the real facts, you find that some practices are struggling to stay
Right.
in practice.
Yeah, not only just struggling, but sometimes you'll find doctors that don't even take paychecks just to make sure that their office is going.
Well,
So that
Eric,
means they sort of just flatlined out there.
yeah, Eric, you met with a doctor recently just because we had a licensee here locally that wanted you to connect with him and talk to him and show him our system. And it was at McDonald's, right, on a breakfast
Yeah.
McDonald's. And this doctor literally just leaned back at one point and said to Eric, how do you put it, Eric?
Well, basically, if you guys can't help me now, I'm going to be quitting the medical business completely. Just get out of practicing medicine at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that shows you where they are. And again, the three doctors that I spoke to this last weekend, uh, th- we don't want to seem like it's just in a geographical area either. Folks, these three doctors that I spoke with this weekend were in the Arizona area. So it doesn't matter if you're in Texas, California, Arizona, Florida, New Jersey. It doesn't matter where you are. This is something that's happening across the nation.
Yeah, we're hearing from licensees from coast to coast who say the same thing over and over again, and that is that the doctors are struggling right now and do not know what to do. The reason is, folks, because as they see more patients, they have to focus on those patients, and that all this other stuff like the billing kind of goes to the side. They don't focus on it, and therefore some of the claims get over past due. They can't collect on them because they've gone past their payment time. And so they're actually have money laying on the table that they're going to have to write off at the end of the year. And they'd much rather have that money in the bank account, wouldn't they, Eric?
No doubt. So that kind of covers the growth in this industry. Now, these are some of the drivers that we're going to be talking about now. This is why we say the future of medical billing is now. And folks, some of you have been on our webinars before. You've heard us talk about the ICD-9s to ICD-10s. But folks, again, this is a huge driver of what you can actually do to go out there and get clients. So to help answer some of your questions, a lot of people ask, Patrick, well, how can I, as a new licensee, go out there and get involved in medical billing? And folks, I'm telling you, this is a huge driver. So let's kind of take them through a snapshot of what's going on here.
Yeah, and Eric, let me kind of pause here and tell people that you don't have to worry about all this terminology. This ICD, you can actually Google that and you'll probably come up with this. It's the International Classification of Diseases. It's a coding system. So you've heard of medical billing and medical coding, right? There's courses out there that you can take on medical coding at your local college. Well, coding is something that's very important to the doctors. They have to know what the codes are to be able to bill for those services they provide. So there's now in place what are called ICD-9. That's just version 9. I guess there was a version 1, and then all the way down the years. Now there's a version 9. And this coming October 1st, there is a new set of codes coming out that will, what is it, Eric? More than 10 times as many codes as they have now in the ICD-9, right?
Yeah, yes. there really is, and we're going to kind of show a sampling of that. But what happens, folks, is that there was like one code for a broken ankle. Now they're going to take that code, and it could be up to 4 to 6 different codes for that same scenario. And the doctors don't have time. If they don't have time to do billing, Patrick, I can't even imagine them trying to learn new codes for their diagnoses. So, folks, again, to kind of reiterate what Patrick was saying, it's not that you have to know the codes, it's the doctors that have to know the codes. That's why this is such a huge issue that doctors are faced with, and through as an ABS licensee, you're actually going to have a very easy solution to that. But before we get to that solution, let's talk about what the doctors are going through right now to prepare for this and what it's costing them. Patrick, again, these 3 doctors that I spoke to this last weekend were telling me, oh, they've had to go to this class, they've sent their staff here to go to this next class, and that some of them have spent up to $50,000 to $60,000 already trying to get ICD-10 implementation in their office already.
It's just, they're freaking out. Some of them are going to go out of practice. I'll tell you why. Because some doctors' offices are using software that will not be ready for the new ICD-10 codes. They are not getting ready for them. Therefore, when October 1st hits of this year, folks, some doctors will be out of practice because they won't know what codes to use. Now, first, like Eric said, let's talk about the reason why you don't need to know about the codes. You hear all these courses that you can take on coding, and people have certification as medical coders. If you're going to get a job in a doctor's office or a hospital as a medical coder, yes, you would need that kind of training. But as a medical biller, all you do is take the codes the doctor gives to you and puts them into our system. But look at some of the things Eric came up with here. Eric, kind of talk about the costs for the doctor here and in getting ready for ICD-10.
Again, we see here that a typical small office could incur, over $80,000 worth of expenditures just getting prepared for the ICD-10 conversion. That's and then you look at a medium practice, and that's what you're going to run across as a new licensee. You're going to run across doctors that have kind of grouped together and they've got their own little thing going there.
Yeah, that's just 10 providers. A medium, they're calling 10 providers, 1 coder, 6 staff members.
Yeah.
We just had a licensee out in California sign up a group of 26 doctors. So
correct.
Yeah.
This is not out of the picture of what's happening, and certainly if you see 100 providers, it could cost them a lot of money. So if I were on the other side of the screen here, Patrick, we're sitting where the people that are attending today. Well, if the doctors are having to send their staff and they're having to, how can I don't know anything about codes.
Right.
How do I get involved in this? Well, let's take them through that.
Yeah, it all has to do with the mapping. When we talk about mapping, we're talking about taking the codes that are now ICD-9 codes and letting the doctor know what now the new codes will be under ICD-10. And wait till you see how our system, our cloud-based system called EMRX, the electronic medical records part of our system, will allow you to do that. Eric, guide them through that.
I'll certainly do that. So again, that's what you would be doing as, and you talk about a great door opener. A lot of people are asking, gosh, I'm not really good at marketing. I don't know if I can do this. So what do I need to do? Folks, if you walk into any doctor's office right now and ask them if they're ready and you could help them, they're going to be asking for your help. So let me show you what you could do right now with our system. Okay, let's see if I'm clicking through this correctly. So I'm going to click on this one more time here and see if I can get to the next slide. So what you would do, you would log into our demo account actually and go to the EHR. You click on that right there, and this is going to get you into what's called the EMR side of the equation. And again, we'll help you through all of this, but you'll see that it's not too difficult as a process. You'll see down over here where it says, this section right here where it says objective, and you'll see next to it, to the side of it, there's an S and an O and an A and a P. This is what's called the doctor's SOAP notes. And again, we don't want you to get too emotional about all these different things. We're truly here to help you. But we were going to go to the O section, which is this objective, and come down to where it says problem list. We're going to click on that problem list, and this is going to get us actually over into this section. And this is where it really starts to come together. All you got to do is click what format you want the code to be displayed. In this section, we want it to be displayed as an ICD-10 code. We've clicked underneath here where it says family practice. We've already got it charted out for you to do this. As you look underneath here where it says, I'm going to try this one right here where it says ABD pain general. That's going to stand for, I believe, abdominal pain general. And then this one is abdominal pain LIQ and abdominal pain LUQ. So when we click on those now, you'll start to see here that up here in this section, it's going to populate the new ICD-10 code. This is how easy it is for you to be able to map this information out, because the only thing you're going to need to get are the diagnosis codes that the doctors are currently using. Go to this area where it says this problem list, and again, we'll certainly help you through that, and get to these, and all you're going to do is start plugging in those numbers, and it's going to automatically start giving you the description and the code. Patrick, it really doesn't get any easier than what we've just shown you right
Yeah.
here. And
And
we'll be happy to give you a demo of the system to let you see it as well.
yeah, just ask your ABS rep, and we will take you through this live right across the internet on your computer. You'll be seeing live what we're actually doing inside the system itself to show you how simple it really is. So you're actually looking at the electronic medical records system that you'll be providing to the medical providers. They have access to it as well, parts of it at least, that you will give them access to. And so that's why it looks the way it does. You see each one of those buttons look like a huge button. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
because it was designed to work perfectly on the iPad. So if you've not seen the iPads, the Apple iPad is just made for medical providers because it fits in the palm of their hand and they can just use that to get exactly what they want right while they're looking at the patient. Great interface for them to use, and it's designed for that.
So what it gets down to is that, Patrick, we're already seeing licensees helping doctors now with the
Yes.
ICD-10 mapping. That this is crucial for these doctors, and we can take you from no background experience into showing you how to map these codes out. It's a look and find, a look and find. A click here and it's going to populate there. A click
Right.
there, it's going to pop. Sometimes you might have to actually type in the code. That's just as easy as clicking it, and you're going to get these new codes there.
Hey, Eric, that kind of ties in with a question here from Tangi. Tangi, I guess that's the name. Sorry if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing that wrong. It says, what is the most common issues or challenges for beginners? Eric, this is one of the things that worries people as they get into this business. How involved do I have to get in all this? Now, we just told you that there are licensees who are helping doctors with those codes right now using our system. How much do you need to know? You need to know how to get into our system and push buttons. And that's all you need to know because it will give you the codes that the doctors need. So, as far as what the most common issues and challenges are, the biggest challenge for most people when they first start this business is getting over the fact that they have to be experts in the medical billing field and with all the terminology and so forth. Folks, in our 1 week of training down here in Dallas, we take you through all the basics that you need to know and give you the perfect start for your business. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to learn everything there is to know about this industry in those 5 days here in Dallas, but it gets people started enough to get out there and get their first client within the first 30, 60, 90 days. These two that just came in today, Eric, were from our December class. So there you
Exactly.
are, within about 60 days of actually getting out there, they've actually got their first client. So, folks, you don't have to know everything. And so I don't know if that addressed that issue, but
Well, I think it's
that's the biggest issue is just fearing that you don't know enough.
absolutely. And folks, here's what you do. Within that 5 days, you're going to know enough what to do and where to go get support. And if you learn nothing more than just the 800 number and how to get in contact with us for support, this is what we're helping. And again, not all licensees know exactly what to do. That's why we have the support and the licensee support site. And I'm sure very soon we're going to be putting up a video, a step-by-step video of how to do this ICD-10 mapping for our current licensees. And truly, it is a very simple process. So that's why we're saying the future of medical billing is now, because we want you to feel comfortable that you have a very marketable service out there that which doctors need now, not
Eric,
a year
just
from
last
now. Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, just last month, we have a doctor who's on our medical advisory board. You'll see her listed there on our website, Sally Combest. Sally did a webinar for our licensees on this very subject of ICD-10, and that's been posted out there, of course, for our licensees to view. So, folks, we do keep up with this kind of thing and continually give new information to our licensees to help you stay up with what's happening in this industry. That's why we've been around for 20 years. We've got the knowledge to keep you up on what you need to know.
All right, let's keep going. We have a web-based technology. The server-based technology is truly in the rearview mirror. That's the way I like to look at it.
Yeah, well, yeah. And let me define that for people. Server-based means a server is a computer, right? So software that is installed on your computer is server based. It's not cloud based or web based. So folks, there is a lot of software that's still out there, believe it or not, that you have to literally take a CD or you download it or something and you install it on your hard disk of your computer. That is very dangerous in this industry because you've got all that patient information stored on your local computer. What if it's stolen? What if there's a fire? What if it just melts down like some computers do and crashes? You've lost all of your data at that point. So with a web-based technology like we're going to show you here, you got all kinds of advantages, don't you, Eric?
Exactly, and one of them is that separates us from the pack is that our iClaim system has a built-in clearinghouse. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of detail about that right now, but let me tell you why this is so crucial for you as a new medical billing company. Because now, instead of you having to go through another avenue, with our system, you can go straight to the insurance companies, as you can see here on the screen. So if we can we maybe go backwards there, Patrick, to that screen slide.
Yeah.
There we go, and then there we go, and there we go. So you can go directly to the insurance companies through our system. That's the advantage of being web-based. That's the advantage of using iClaim and doing this through American Business Systems, because again, everybody's always asking, Patrick, what's the differentiator out there? Why you, ABS, and not anybody else?
And this is one of them right here. The fact that we've got our own clearinghouse built into our system, we don't have to have, like, look, folks, with other computers, software, what you have to do is batch all of your claims and upload them to a third-party entity called a clearinghouse. That's a third-party company that now they take that, they scrub it different ways for all the different insurance companies so that they can get it electronically the way they want it. And that takes time and causes that many more errors. When it's built in like ours is, you eliminate all that. That's why our rejection rate on claims is less than 2% nationwide.
Right. And another advantage, again, is just the accessibility. Again, we wanted to throw this back here up on the screen, and we showed this earlier in our introduction here, but truly everything that is on our system is clean. Patrick, you've been on webinars, I mean, not webinars, but on demos where we've actually had doctors and their staff just take a look at our system and say, this is the cleanest system that they've ever seen. It's not convoluted. It doesn't look like it's just nice and clean, and it's easy to get around. Whether you're on the iClaim side, which is the practice management side, or whether you, like you said earlier, with the iPad and showing the screenshot of what it looks like for the doctor. These buttons are big for the doctors to kind of keep going through their visits with their patients.
Yeah, now, Eric, while we're talking about the electronic medical records, I think this is a good point to start introducing this next slide, and that is, folks, part of electronic medical records for doctors is, number one, they have to get involved in it or they start getting penalized from Medicare starting next year. And that means they'll be having money taken away from them, which they don't need at this point if they don't get involved. So, therefore, most doctors are getting involved as quickly as they can. And one of the things that they have to qualify for the stimulus money that's available from the government is this thing called the patient portal.
Exactly, and these are some of the shots that you can see here, Patrick. This is from the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services. Now, before I start here, I want to just show you, when you see the word or the letters EP, we're talking about the elected physician or the physician that you would go see. And you can see here at where we used to be at stage 1 that there were certain core objectives that had to be met. Now in stage 2, there are more objectives that the doctor has to meet. One of them is this patient engagement. Now, Patrick, the doctor has to get their patients to actually use the patient portal. They have to get at least 5% of their patient base to start using the system as well. You talk about a hurdle for some of these doctors already.
Well, yeah, some doctors have 800, 1,000 patients. Now, they're not all seeing those on a regular basis, but that's how many they have. Therefore, they would have to have 5% of that, or what is that, 50 patients for 1,000 patients, right, to get involved in using the patient portal. And some
Right.
systems don't even have a patient portal, by the way.
And that's what we want to drive home today is that there are a lot of systems that the doctors will say, oh yeah, I've got an EMR system. Oh yeah, I've got a billing system. But doctor, do you have an accessible, easy accessible patient portal? And we do, built into our EMR system. This is where the doctor will be able to communicate directly to the patient. And Patrick, I've never really seen a better patient portal than the one that's here. You know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I can do all of my stuff online before I get to the doctor. But a lot of people don't realize that that just comes out in a print format, and then someone at that doctor's office has to physically go back in the record and type in all that information.
Right.
Not with our system, folks. This whatever if we're going to kind of play on the side of us being the patient. That's what we're going to kind of take you through here. So let's just say that we've just logged into our patient portal, and you can see it says up here at the top, you know, welcome Rex Schumacher. That's our demo guy that we use here when we do our demonstrations. And so we're actually into our demo record with this guy here. And one of the first things that we can do here is request an appointment. And then it also tells us when our next appointment is, right directly on the screen. Then it's also telling us if there's any expected copay to go along with that. Then once we're actually in our service, in our record here, you can see that you as a patient can now update all of your information into the system. Now, Patrick, if who likes to go to the doctor when they're sick and start filling out all of this information just to hand it over to someone else who's going to take this information and type all this stuff back in there?
With the possibility that they put in erroneous, human errors, right? Whereas if you're doing it yourself, you're putting it in and making sure that it's correct.
Exactly.
That cuts down on the rejections.
Yeah, so this is a double-edged sword here on this patient portal that we have. That you as a patient can have the security about doing all this at home before you get there, and then all that information is there when you get to the doctor's office, and you don't have to sit there and fill all that information. Matter of fact, as you can see here on this next screen here, you can even sign your name to all of their documents that they want you to sign. This is all done electronically.
Yeah.
And a lot of doctors from the doctor's side, Patrick, ask us, what if we have more documents that we need people to sign? You can actually go in there, edit them, upload those for those patients to sign there as well. And then just real quickly, we're going to kind of go through some of the things that you as a patient can do. But just remember, when we show this to the doctor, this is the information that's going to go directly into your medical record on the EMRX side. And so whenever you change this information from as a patient, this is actually going into the doctor's area, and when you show up, all of this information is already in there. So you can collect, peanuts, or you're allergic to eggs or whatever else might be there. Then you start doing your medical history, whether it's medical history, whether it's family history, whether it's the surgical history, whatever it might be. You can go in through this on your side as a patient. But really, what this is doing for the doctor is helping that doctor's office run so much more smoothly. And Patrick, I'm telling you, when we showed this information to the doctors, they themselves are going, wow, because what they normally have to end up doing is go through this, and someone of their staff has to put this in there, and then it's not the right information. Whenever it's coming from the patient, it's the right information.
That's right. And again, that cuts down in errors, which means the doctor's going to get paid rather than money getting lost out there in the insurance companies because of those errors. Hey, Eric, I know we're about to wrap up here pretty quick, but we got some questions here coming in, very interesting questions that I wanted to address here. Can I
let's do that.
Hit a couple of these? Let's see. Fritz says, when you purchase a franchise, do you get an exclusive geographical area? Fritz, it is kind of like a franchise, so you can use that term if you want to, but technically this is a business opportunity, which includes training and support from us as a company. It's a licensing situation instead of a franchise, but that means you're in charge of your own business and you can run it anywhere you want to. Eric, we have licensees that have clients outside of their local area, don't we?
Well, you were talking about one licensee today that you spoke to. His name's Chris. He is out of
Yep.
St. Louis. And where did he get his first patient? I mean, his first doctor.
Wisconsin. Yeah. So you can no, there's no geographical restrictions at all, Fritz. This is not like a Subway sandwich shop where you can only sell sandwiches in the 2 miles around your location there. So you can build this as big as you want to. Let's see. Here's one from Anish. She says, if it's very simple, why don't the doctor's offices go ahead and use it? Good question.
We get that. Yeah, we get that question a lot. Matter of fact, I was asked that question today. Wow. I mean, Patrick. I mean, like you had said earlier, the doctors are literally running two businesses if they're trying to do it themselves. You said in your article, the medical billing future is bright. Kind of go back over what you wrote there of what those doctors need to focus on.
Well, they need to focus on what's important to them, and that is helping patients to get well. That is the focus of a medical billing practice. It was never that they would be dealing with insurance companies and claims forms and all those other things. So, yes, our system is simple, but we give access to the doctor only to the side that he needs to have access to. That is the clinical side, the electronic medical record side. Whereas you, as the medical biller, have access to the billing side. We call it iClaim, and that's where you have your focus. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't give reports and other information from that to the doctor. You can, but the doctors don't want to do this themselves, folks. Yes, doctors can do their own billing, and yes, some of them do. Some of them will never outsource it to anybody else. So, folks, here's what we found. The doctors that are waking up and realizing that it's better to turn this over to an expert, somebody who focuses on billing all day long, not just for their practice, but for other practices as well. That's you. That's much better than them trying to get their staff to stay up to speed on all the changes that are coming down in this area. So can doctors use our system? Yes, of course they could, but they don't want to. And we show you how to position yourself with them so that they don't want to do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it truly just gets down to the fact that I guess at one point, I guess some doctors used to do their billing and do it quite well, but there's always changes, and the doctors just can't keep up with that, let alone of just trying to keep up with their own staff. Patrick, a lot of people will ask this, well, if it's this simple and I, as an ABS licensee, starts a medical billing business, what's that going to do for the office's staff? Or is the doctor going to cut people loose? Or what do they normally do if they start freeing up people?
Well, that's what we, again, train you to help the doctor see, that their staff could be better used in helping the doctor to see more patients. Look, when does a doctor make money? It's not filing the insurance claims. He's already made the money, and he made it when he saw the patients. So doesn't it make sense that if we free up the staff to help the doctor see more patients, that will be more income from those extra patients for the entire practice? So nobody loses their job unless maybe it's a part-time high school girl and all they had her doing was just doing some data entry and there's nothing else that girl can do. For most medical people, they get into the industry because they want to help people get well. And that means helping them see the doctor and moving them through that office quicker to get the health care needs met.
Yeah, that's huge. And again, there could be some people that might lose a job here and there, but it's usually the part-time people that are, like Patrick said, are just doing certain things. But I mean, we've seen just reshifting of people, and therefore they are getting more people in and through that doctor's office.
Right.
Patrick, I believe it's AJ.
AJ.
Yep. He's asking, since the clearinghouse tends to be known to have errors, would it be advisable to use as a sales pitch about the built-in clearinghouse that the ABS has?
Yes. In fact, we teach you to position yourself as the complete solution to the doctor's medical revenue, problems that they have, the challenges that they have. And that includes, of course, yes, you can say the clearinghouses that are out there all have some errors that they send back to a medical biller. With our system, Eric, it won't even let you send the claim unless it's correct.
Right.
So there's the
And then,
advantage of having a real-time cloud-based, web-based system, folks, is because our clearinghouse is looking at that data before you even submit it and won't let it go until it's correct.
and that's so important because with other systems that have to send their claims to a third party clearinghouse, Patrick, it could be days before they actually get that information back to let them know whether that claim's good or not.
Yeah, that's
We're,
right.
we're dealing with it in real time here.
Yeah. Oh, I just hit a button that kind of went wacko here. Let me get back to my screen, and I'll put up the slide that just has our next training dates on there, just so you guys can be thinking about that. Eric, I notice you have five chairs sitting there. I think
That's
we only
it.
have three left at this point.
Oh, really? Okay.
Folks, as you can see, the classes are fairly small. We keep them that way purposely because we want to have the attention that you need from people like Eric, who's one of our instructors, and one of our licensees that are out there in the field actually building their business. We pay them to come down and actually do the training so that you are hearing from somebody who's actually doing this business on a day-to-day basis. So, Eric, I'm going to throw up there also our guarantee if you want to read maybe another question or so there.
Yeah, I don't mind taking this question as you're pulling it up. Harvey's asking the question about are we going to talk about how to get doctors? And he kind of he saw that it was difficult to get doctors. Harvey, that's what we've been sharing with you this afternoon is how you get doctors. We know for a fact that you can't just walk into any doctor's office and say, "Hey, you need some medical billing today." We do know that with the items that we talked about today, let's kind of go in backwards format. We just got through talking about the patient portal. All doctors, if they're seeing Medicare patients, and the majority are doing that, to qualify for stage 2, they have to have a patient portal that gives access back and forth to their patients. This will be, doctors want to know where can they get that. Number 2, the ICD-10 codes, going back from their ICD-9s to the ICD-10 codes. That's how you're going to be able to get doctors. And once you start getting a doctor engaged on any of those levels, that's where our licensees are winning. That's how, again, the couple of licensees that just came through class here in December, they were talking about these particular issues. And one conversation led to the next, to where they've got them as a billing client.
That's right. So, Harvey, to answer your question another way, um, we don't have time, of course, in every webinar to cover every topic. And the topic of how we help you get clients is the topic of several of our past webinars. You'll find those on our website under our blog. So just look for, I think it's under the news tab at the top and then blog, and you'll be able to go back in time looking at some of those previous webinars and educating yourself on what we do to help you actually get clients out there.
Exactly. Well, Patrick, we are getting close to the top of the hour here, so let's talk about the money back guarantee that you do offer.
Yeah, I just put it up there for a second so you folks could see that because it is important that you know that we have given a lot of thought as to how to help people make the right decision about this business. And we don't know of a better way than to tell you that you should go out there and come to our training, sit through the whole week, learn all of our secrets as to what we do teach, and then decide at the end of the week if this is really for you. Now, that means you have to make a commitment, of course, to us. You have to pay the license fee. You have to get your hotel reservations and your flight and get down here for that week. But folks, we don't want you to stay as a licensee unless you think this is exactly the right business for you. One of the ways you can know fairly certain that that's going to happen is you can watch some of the testimonials that we have out there on our blog. At the end of every training, we ask people to tell us, what did you think about this training now? At the end of the week after you've seen everything. And you'll see that most people are oversold on what we have told them. We've under promised and over delivered during that week. So that's what this guarantee is all about. But if for any reason you don't think it's for you, just ask for your money back. And we part as friends.
Absolutely. And folks, we know that, again, watching our webinars and talking to us on the phone, it seems to be intangible to kind of grasp. That's why we want you to come to the training. And also, please take advantage of our offer for you, for us to do demos. Kind of go back to Harvey's question, how do we help you get doctors? That's one way that we actually show you, Harvey, about how we are in partnership with you on helping you get those doctors, in which we actually do the demos for you for your doctors. Just schedule a time with us to do a demo. Hopefully this webinar was informative to you.